Rice is not only an important food staple for more than 3.5 billion people worldwide, but it's also a source of livelihood mostly in parts of Asia, such as Africa, Thailand, and the Philippines. In this part of the world, where 600 million people live in extreme poverty, nearly all of whom eat rice 2 or 3 times a day, rice contributes 30% to 70% of their calorie intake. As population rises and the demand for rice is increasing, so should the supply to adequately feed the hungry. Rice currently faces 3 major concerns. Climate uncertainties cause disasters fatal to crops. The change in demographics gives less labor and less land. The policy of market and trade affect the overall picture. It is important for rice to evolve with context. As Charles Darwin has stated, it is not the strongest species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the most responsive to change. To talk about the state of rice in Africa, we have Dr. Harold Roy Macaulay, former Executive Director of Caraf-Wicard, Director General of Africa Rice.
There is a growing demand for rice in Africa, and especially in West Africa, as it increasingly contributes to the daily calorie intake, more than other staples such as maize, sorghum, and wheat. This growing demand for rice has already outstripped consumption and supply, and is translated into about $5 billion import market. The projected increase in consumption of milled rice in 2020 in Africa is estimated at 35 million tons, whilst the projected increase in milled rice production is less than this, estimated at 30.4 million tons.
Africa has the potential to produce its own rice to feed the hungry. Yet, it has become one of the top importers of rice. Why is this? One reason is that the quality of harvest in Africa is not going well. Sand and stone mix in with the grain, making it unable to compete with cheap imported rice from other parts of Asia. For Africa to improve competitively, quality of harvest must improve by providing mechanisms to farmers to produce better quality rice. It all starts with the suppliers supplying seed to the farmer, which will then go through the grading process to eventually go through the process of packing. This is then kept in storage before transported to retailers, where consumers will be able to buy the product at a certain cost. Each part plays a major role in this chain, such that if one part experiences problems, the whole chain suffers. This determines the quality of rice that is produced, and the quality is directly related with the cost of rice. Genetic diversity. The International Rice Gene Bank, maintained by the International Rice Research Institute, holds more than 117,000 types of rice. This includes modern and traditional varieties and wild relatives of rice. By combining these varieties, scientists are able to produce rice which have higher yield potential. These rice varieties can help countries like the Philippines who faces problems due to climate change, such as flooding, drought, and soil instability, all of which pose a problem to rice production. Let us take a closer look at the trend in Asia as a whole. Here are the major rice exporters from 2012. Thailand, Vietnam, India, Pakistan. And here are the major rice importers of 2012. Nigeria, Iran, China, Philippines, and Indonesia. This is the global rice consumption and production in Asia as of 2012. The bottom line message is that if diversification in Asia is slow and not widespread, then it is almost certain that this will be offset by the rising consumption in Africa and the rest of the world. The global population and total global consumption will continue to rise. Dr. Abdu Tengkoano, the Regional Director for Africa at AVRDC, summarizes the state of rice in Africa and in a global scale.
So production is not enough, and I'm afraid that because rice is strategic crop for Asia, it's part of the food every day. And what I see here is that because of the importance of rice in most countries in Asia, if production continues to decline, I would not be surprised that at some point in time there would be some kind of ban on export. And if Africa is not able to produce enough, that ban of export is going to create a tsunami in Africa.
Given all these information, we are hopeful for change. There are opportunities for improving rice value chains in Africa. The demand is high and growing. Political will is strong. Investors are supportive. Production has untapped potential. Africa Rice, an NGO in Africa, which is linked with the International Rice Research Institute, is present and active. Pulling all these together to implement changes in Africa, we must have efficient value chain management as our foundation. As our pillars, we must have varieties and seeds. Post-harvest is critical to apply nutrition to ensure healthy crops. A good understanding of the social sciences is essential. And we must have an efficient and safe production process. These pillars hold up the building and must be protected by efficient policies and regulations. Let us join together to inform people about the need for improvement and encourage our government to implement the needed changes.